Welcome to this lecture on fringe benefits. This is an important section for exams, but it's also a section that is important for general life. If you are a person that is going to be working with tax, or if you are just paying tax, like all of us in South Africa will and are paying when we earn a salary or income. Now, a fringe benefit is something that an employer gives to an employee. Now, usually we all understand that if I go and work for someone, they'll give me a salary or wage, cash amount, we understand that. But it is also possible for your employer to give you other things, apart from just a salary. Your employer can give you, say, here's your salary, but I'm also going to give you a travel allowance or a cell phone allowance. The employer says to you, you work for Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola says, as part of your employment contract, each employee can each month take home a case of cool drinks, soft drinks, right? So they give you trading stock. Or your employer says to you, that laptop that you've been using for the last 3 years that belongs to the company, you can take it. Listen, we're getting rid of it, so that you can take it. Or your employer gives you a meal. Basically, any of these situations where your employer gives you something which is not just your salary, but it is something else, an asset, or a benefit or a service. Your employer says to you, we are letting massage therapists come out to work to give everybody a massage at their desk. You should really hold on to that job. That's the first thing. But second, that's a service and not just an asset. Right. Or your employer writes off your cell phone debt, okay, for whatever reason. Any situation where your employer gives you more than just your salary, that is, for now, I'm going to call it in all forms a fringe benefit. Okay, the exception to that you'll see will be allowances. An allowance is an allowance. It's not a fringe benefit. We study it under the fringe benefits section, okay, but just remember that. So, fringe benefits is what these other benefits are that you get. Now, you as the person who is receiving the fringe benefit, so if you are working for me, I give you a salary and I also give you a company car and I also give you meals. You are receiving a fringe benefit. You, as the employee, will be taxed on that. Okay, so it will be included in your gross income. Now, if I say that to you, I'll say to you, here's a company car, and I say to you, here is here's a BMW, and which I've just purchased, and you can use it as a company car. Okay, you have to drive around and use it. Just you just need to put in petrol. If I say that to you, that's a fringe benefit, you should be taxed on it. It should be included in your gross income. But what is the amount? How do we determine that? That amount is called the cash equivalent. So they're saying, if we had to give you this benefit in cash instead of giving you the benefit, so the benefit of using that car, what would be the cash equivalent? Okay, so it's basically like, if we had to give you a bigger salary instead, what would that be? Right, that cash equivalent, that is what we're going to have to be able to determine. How do we know what the cash equivalent is? Now, the cash equivalent is discussed, fringe benefits discussed in the 7th schedule. Now, this is a schedule to the Income Tax Act, guys, so please remember, if it's a schedule, it means that we refer to it as paragraphs, not sections. So it's not section 1, section 2, section 3, it's paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Important for referencing in your exams. Right. So the 7th schedule tells us how to calculate the cash equivalent, and that's where the majority of our time is spent. But also, I mentioned to you that I said the exception to this is an allowance. An allowance is an exception. We studied under fringe benefits, but an allowance is an allowance, and allowances are discussed in section 8. Right. You'll see we also do talk about shares. When as the employer gives its employees and directors shares, like share options, that is discussed in section 8, capital C of the Income Tax Act, and not in the 7th schedule. So these two are not fringe benefits technically. The one is an allowance and the other one is shares. Okay, they're not fringe benefits. We just study it under fringe benefits traditionally. So, as we continue now, your goal should be, for all of the fringe benefits that you are studying, to say, what is the cash equivalent of that? And that is the amount that gets included for in the employee's gross income.